And welcome to another Tales from the Dark Side. We've got the Mando review. Great show, crazy show. I think everybody's happy with the show. Hey, listen, this is going to be. We always try to get these done within an hour. We know we're not going to get this done within an hour. We might lose a person or two. We might miss somebody real quickly. Just to let you know, we are going to have a bunch of extra stuff going on towards the end. We have an unboxing from one of our fans, which is super cool. Pete's got some special news. Not going to give it away. Might be a giveaway. We're going to go over a couple books. We're definitely going to do a theory crafting. Yeah, I know, right? I'm not going to give it away. It's going to be a giveaway. Might do some theory crafting at the end. Obviously, we're going to do some theory crafting at the end to see how far and how many rabbit holes we can go down on this. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to deal with. We'll obviously hit the chats up too and go through as I click over to the chats and get lost as normal. We'll go through the chats and hit up your questions. We'll definitely take a pause halfway through and go through it. But let's start it off. We got Pete. Pete, what's going on?
Not too much. Not too much.
Co-pilot Solo Wookie. Solo Wookie, say hi.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here. Good to see you.
Comic Book Women, Jen, what do we got?
Hey, everyone. Good.
And then, of course, from Low Bricks, Leaky Trooper. Leaky, say hi.
Hello, everybody.
All right. So to start off, right? Like, I think when we started going through the preview, once you start seeing the preview, what's weird about it this week is typically I skip the preview thing, right? I hit the double skip on it. Like, I don't want to hear the recap. Don't want to hear the preview. Unfortunately, I don't know what was going on. Maybe because I did assume this was happening and I watched it really late and ran to go grab some water real quickly and listen to the previews. And I think from the recap, you knew very quickly what this episode was going to be about. And they did not disappoint. They started off kind of like we thought in the fog with lightsabers going. Obviously, they did a lot more than we thought we were going to see, and it definitely was cool.
Yeah.
Definitely who we thought was going to be there, and she looked good, man. She really did. It's been years now where they were talking about her being it, that they'd rumored it. I think the first sketch art was, what was it, 2008? Wasn't it around one of the Anaheim celebrations? I can't remember. But it definitely was years ago when they first pushed this out. So we kind of knew she was coming up. Great scenes. Anybody else have any opinion on the scenes that were coming up through here that we're showing right now?
Well, for the long time, we wanted to see lightsabers, or we kind of guessed we were going to see lightsabers. And the first thing I just thought was the sound design on this whole episode, especially the lightsabers, was just awesome.
I did notice that her lightsabers, when they ignited and when they, de-energized, they had a little different tone to it. Yeah. They had a little bit of that callback to, I think it was Rebels. Her sabers always sounded a little bit different, and I thought that was kind of cool how they did it in this one and kind of carried that over and made it just that little bit of difference.
I always kind of thought that was because of her cleansing the crystals.
Yeah, remember she got the crystals for Inquisitor because she left in Clone Wars. She had left her original sabers there, and Darth Vader came back and found it. And these were the ones where the Inquisitor was coming, which, by the way, that might have a little bit of a tie-in. There was a ton of tie-ins here that were really cool. Some of them were done good. They gave it all, right? Like, this episode gave the cheap ones, and some of them were just on the border of being almost as bad as the last trilogy ones, but they toted that line where there was definitely some hey, we're going to give it to the people who just watch the movies and give the cheap ones. And then they did some deeper ones, which is I got to say, man, Dave did a great job all around on this one. Probably by far his best. You know what? I liked a couple of his last ones too that he did, but this one was by far his best work. And you can actually see how that training with John has really come over, and now he's feeling a little bit more. There was a couple things that, and I'll get into it later, that I think maybe he could have added on, but at that point, I'll get it. So here it is. I thought at the beginning, actually, when I saw this is actually a little bit of it. I really thought when this scene where she finally goes up there and she was talking to the the magistrate, when she, you missed the scene there where you could have been I'm no Jedi, and then flick off one of those HK droids and go, but I can still use the Force. And then go into that part about you have one day, blah, 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 as you see the HK droid fall down. And there's just some other things, and we'll kind of get into it a little bit later. But it was done really well. Like I said, I mean, especially for that, it was done really, really well. To come out, a lot of the stuff, you know, the McQuarrie stuff that I know Leaky always likes to get into, like the throwbacks and the McQuarrie stuff, and then you know, this is typical artwork for that type of stuff. And then using these scenes of the woods. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but when you're going to those Kurosawa movies, like the Ronin and all those, he usually does use this similar cinematography for like wooded areas. There's always something going on in the woods, if it's like bandits or people jumping out. And I thought the portrayal of this just cinematically was really good, man. It really was good.
The writing matched with the visuals is just awesome. You know how my son was watching this with me, and he was like, "Oh man, something bad happened there in those woods, something bad." And he kept through the whole episode. I said, "Wonder what it is." And they tied back so nice. I mean, with the magistrate and her backstory, I'm just always surprised how much they squeeze into 45 minutes. I'm like, man.
Well, it's really like 32 minutes after you get all the previews.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once you go through like all these scenes, man, they were just like just everything. The town, it brought it back. You know, I'm a big fan of just not Kurosawa, but like all the Japanese style, like, and even the Koreans that kind of came off of it, all those styles of movies, you know, and I love to see that. You know, last one he did last season was all the Western tropes, and there was a little bit of Western tropes in here, but this one was clearly, he was just force feeding it to us, like, hey, we're also going to give you the other half of it, which I thought was super duper cool. I mean, I love
pure samurai goodness.
Yeah, I couldn't have been happier with that. You know, I do like the Westerns, but I always say a lot of those spaghetti Westerns were taking off of the Japanese stuff.
Oh yeah,
kind of dubbed off of the Korean stuff too. But like, for me, I know everybody was like, oh, not everybody. There's a lot of people that I had to recharge my phone 3 times after that episode. You know, it was just going crazy. And I had to fix a certain garbage disposal. I should have called somebody, but I love to do this stuff myself. I just really, you know, to do the own thing. That's neither here nor there. But like, so I was trying to get that done, and my phone's dying, and like everybody's like, "Hey, call me. We need to talk about this." And we're going, and like people were really stoked about Ashoka and about who played her. Like, and you know, to say that again, at the beginning I thought I had a little bit of like solo solo issues. You know, like a little bit of solo syndrome going on. You know, like where nobody will ever play Han Solo like Harrison Ford, right? And I've been a big proponent for Dawson being this character because I love it. I mean, I thought she looked really great when it was first coming on. I can remember going on the chat boards and there was somebody going, you know, Eckley should play it. It's her thing. She'll do a good job. And I was like, are you kidding me? There's nobody who would look better as this character. She does a great job. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and I think you're starting to see, and they brought in Matt Leinart last year, if I'm butchering his name, who was the voice of Anakin. I think you're seeing that you need live action actors. And I mean, I don't know, maybe Ashley Eckstein could have been great, but Rosario Dawson has some long-term street cred with Rodriguez and action scenes and all of that. And I know she looked a little slow, but Ahsoka's also older, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could have sped that up, though. That's something they could have sped up. Yins. You could have sped that up a little bit, I think, and that would have been cool. There's a couple other things. If we're gonna get into it, before we get back to all the coolness that happened, and I see all the comment. I'm not even gonna go to the chat till way after this because I don't even want to see what they're about to do to me on this one. But like what I was saying about that portion was I was wrong, and I owe that person an apology because honestly, I think she could have done it. You know, these scenes at the end where this never showed up in there, and honestly, we've discussed this over, and people have tried to make excuses why she kind of did this in scenes, but like running in the background, it should have been a scene, and I don't know whose fault it was, but if you saw some of the chunkier stuff, look, she did a great job. I'm just saying, when she first came out and started talking to the magistrate, I keep almost saying warlord because it was so much like a Kurosawa film.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like I want to say warlord because that's what that was taken off of. But the magistrate, when she brings out the magistrate, there was no snips left. And I know she's gotten older, but there just wasn't that like cocky sarcasticness and the tone to the voice. She is a great actress. Okay, Dawson's a great actress. She will get there, right? Like I believe she will. But that's like that Solo effect. Like it just didn't stop.
Isn't there a road weariness to Ahsoka at this point, though?
You would think.
Hasn't she been through so much? And after Order 66, and she was basically missing MIA through the original trilogy. So I thought she kind of hit the nail on the head of where Ahsoka would be at. She's older now. She's kind of had it with everything. She seems like she just wants to be left alone. And it also seems like she's got a personal revenge quest she's on.
I agree with that. But if you remember how she played out in both, even in Rebels, which is the latest portion of it, there still was that like cocky. There's something about the voice of Look,
yeah.
I'm saying this was a great. This isn't cosplay, right? This was a great live version of it. I'm just saying there's something about the tone and tenure that Eckley got right all the time, and I hope, I think we all think this is going to be the buddy cop movie eventually, right? Like we've been saying that for a while, like the Sabine and Ahsoka buddy cop movie. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe nobody thinks that anymore, but I still think that's kind of going to be part of it. Looking for Ezra and Thrawn.
Find out what happened to her. Yeah, Sabine, I mean, when they left Rebels, they were together and they were looking for Thrawn and Ezra. Now Ahsoka's still looking for Thrawn. No Sabine, and it's been how many years now? I mean, that was before A New Hope, and we've run through the whole original trilogy. Now, a few years after, she's still looking for him.
Yeah,
so maybe she is with those guys, Pete. But this is like on her 8th quest that they've sent her out on. Sorry, no pun intended.
Road weariness. That's why I was on board with you.
So that was something that I talked to you about, Marco. Is that timeline? I'm a little bit confused because in Rebels, there's already Darth Vader, but Rebels is still before A New Hope. But then when we last see Rebels, it does a flash like a forwarding into the epilogue of you see little Kanan and like the little kid of Hera, and he's like 5. So it's like, okay, so
so that Hera portion is post Jedi, right?
Okay.
But what we don't know, and we assume that where they took off is they took off right as New Hope is happening, right? Because Thrawn's, if you read the novels, and we'll get into some of that later, but you assume that like Ahsoka and Sabine took off 9 years ago, and they in the meantime have gone to try to, because you got to remember, like they don't know where it is. There's no tracking. They're just randomly going around. So at this point, we can assume a couple things. Hopefully, is that, and we'll get into this more a little bit later. But like we can assume that they still haven't found, in my opinion, they still haven't found Ezra. Right? That's why she's going here. Now they're splitting up because it's been so long. They still haven't found it. They need to go. And actually was kind of something I'll get into later about how I was disappointed. Well, because I want it all now at this point, right? Like I wanted at the end scene when they said, where's your boss Thrawn? Instead of her like shaking the new magistrate, like patting him on the back, I want to see, what's the Ghost's mini ship, the Phantom one or whatever, coming down and like Sabine going, get on, let's go. I got a lead, and then woo, we go off, and which is unfortunate. You always want more, right? And I'm not sure we're gonna get any more Ahsoka now till the TV show. That was something we've talked about before. Like we wanted it, but we wanted it done right, and I thought this was done right, in my opinion. But we also knew that it was going to give that lagging feeling of, man. But like we said, right now we're supposed to be going through scenes that we thought were cool, and we're talking about like, where's the timeline? What's the next show going to be about? What's going on here? And I think that's
the question for you, Marco, and it's for everyone really is. Do you guys think they're almost doing too much seed planning for Disney Plus? Like, man, they literally, if you look at this season alone, they could offshoot like 4 different shows.
Yeah, it's possible, but at the same time, I mean, the actual baseline storyline of Mando with the child isn't very in depth, so you kind of fill those gaps. And I think this does, gives us a lot to play with. They don't have to follow up on every seed. Not every plant will grow, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, they said that in 3 it's going to be like Moff Gideon heavy, right? Even Gideon had said like he's not in this one a ton, and that that's where your mega bad guy is, right? Like that's who that's your end scene, right? Like that's where we're going to either see if Wolf and Cub become just Cub, or if we have Wolf and Cub. You know what I mean? So like that's where we're going to see that. I was hoping that we get a little bit of that lead in at the end here. We only got 3 episodes left, so like there's only so much they can do.
So
let's go through some more things though, because I know this was Jen. Jen had for a while saying she hoped this would happen, and it did. If you guys didn't catch it, you got the sister, quote unquote, sister owl. What's the name of that sister owl?
Morai.
Yeah, Morai. The one that on Clone Wars where it was a sister and the brother, the balance of the Force with the dad. And then she's in between. We saw that there, which was pretty cool. This was fun just because I was saying this every single time I watched it. I think I said it too. Like, don't look through the lens because as soon as you know you're doing it, nothing's wrong there. You know, they already did this. That was one thing I loved it because I thought it was done better than it was done before. Like this was done already with the sand people, and I thought it was even cooler here because then of course you knew it was coming, and there you get the Beskar blocking, which was cool. You got the Luke Skywalker Boba Fett scene here, which I mean I think everybody's happy about that, right? Then she jumps over the thing.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. I did hear somebody's like, why would you put I was watching it, and I'm not gonna say who said this, but she's very dear and near to my heart, and she's like, why would you put Baby Yoda down? He could. I was like, well, honestly, he probably could just force choke anybody. Anyways, I didn't want to ruin that part of it, but like, yeah, he does have a tendency to not, as much as there's that dad son thing, which now they've really cemented. They really have cemented the wolf and cub portion of the story. There really is. I mean, he does some stuff that's just like,
oh, he leaves them behind all the time. He leaves them in the ship. I mean, you know, how many times in the first season where his ship got trashed when he was gone?
Yeah.
He left the back of the ship for a day and a half in this one. And
he's leaving him in a parked car while he runs into the store.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll crack the window.
Leaves him with an assassin droid. I mean, I don't get it. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a first-time parent too. And we all make our mistakes, but I don't make mistakes like that, man. Like that, you're just trying to lose a kid at that point.
Yeah, you know, that brings up one thing. I noticed Mando doesn't have a lot of street smarts, right? I mean, he can fight, but when it comes to like, he makes some interesting decisions.
Well, he was really sheltered. I think that's what they kind of like when you saw the Bo-Katan thing, which by the way, that's where I also kind of got that Solo experience. When Bo-Katan came down, I was like, holy, there was nothing wrong with that at all. And that's where I'm kind of like, hey, look, I love what they're doing with it, but like, man, they just killed it. It's bad when you have to compare episodes and go like, yeah, this was done better in this episode than the last episode. This actress did a better job portraying that anime character than this did. And it's both amazingly great though, like, right? But yeah, like that, in that scene, they talk about it. Like he was sheltered. Bo-Katan kind of makes fun of all of them. Sasha Banks makes fun of him for being kind of like in that sheltered life, not really knowing what's going on.
Very narrow-minded, right? He's like he's all about the code, very one track, which is good, right? I mean, that's, you know, another throwback to the samurai, right? The samurai is way of the warrior, but outside of the way of the warrior, he doesn't really know how to deal with people.
Yeah. But even John Favreau, when he plays Visla, kind of just like, what are you doing with this Beskar? And we could get to that point too, because I thought that was kind of a little interesting, that portion of it too. But he even's like kind of talks down to him like, what are you? You're not all upstairs, which is kind of funny. So, but then again, there was Lone Wolf. So we had the Jedi there. Oh, yeah, that was the town. The town was cool. I thought she did an excellent job. This was crazy. And now, look, it's not the HK-45, but the droid that's back here is an HK droid. And for all of you that are Old Republic fans, you know HK droids because one of the groups that was with, Revan, they had that HK droid. So
now you know this. Is this too early to talk about? But you guys know this actress's backstory, right? You guys know who she is?
Nikki, tell us.
She's Bruce Lee's goddaughter. So her dad was
goddaughter or granddaughter?
Goddaughter. So her dad was like a stunt trainer with Bruce Lee, and she's been in other Japanese type movies and that. So she has some street cred with fighting, because I saw it in the chat earlier. You clearly have to have some mad skills to go toe to toe and actually disarm Ashoka, one of her lightsabers. But I'm going deep into the episode, so I'll back.
What did you guys think about that? when she disarmed her, because like she was.
The thing is that Ahsoka had like one hand kind of tied behind her back because she's trying to she doesn't want to kill her. She needs information from her.
Yes.
Like so to fight somebody and to like not want like to, because a couple times like she could have, it's like I can't do it. I gotta like so it's tough.
And my son immediately said when she started the fight, my son's a black belt in karate, and she said, "Oh, the magistrate is doing the Talon stance." Which is basically very Dooku-ish, where she's basically defensive, and then when you come in close, she'll take you out. You know, it's the spear dance. So he was very impressed with her fighting, the magistrate's fighting skills.
That's actually where I thought one of the other, besides the beginning where I thought she could have said something to the effect of like, "I'm no Jedi, but I have the Force," and pushed it. That was the other one. The magistrate unfortunately outshined whoever was doing the dueling for Ahsoka. I thought the movement was way better on that side. It just looked cleaner. Like I said, these are all things that aren't going to, like, the only thing that I have a problem with is like, first off, there's a heck of a lot of Beskar out there, right? And like, you've already been told before, like if somebody it's like one of those things, like if somebody offers you this, you just kill them and take it, right? And instead he's just like, okay, maybe I'll do some bad work for you for it, or no, end it. Like, what are you doing? Like,
well, that's his code, right? That's his way of the warrior code. It's, you know, he has to do the deal. Although
he didn't do the
episode with the marshal.
He never said he would do the deal.
Take off the armor, or I'll kill you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, and this would have been like so all of a sudden the marshal, who's not even wearing Beskar, by the way, because that is Durosteel, he's telling him to take it off. But this lady's got a whole spear out of it.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
isn't she Empire though?
What?
Isn't she like old Empire?
Yes, she's Empire.
Yeah, she is.
I figured anyone in the Empire, because that one guy in the first season had that whole like ice cream tub, right? Full of it.
Yes.
So like in this, I'm like, okay, well, I would just assume that, okay, well, she's Empire basically, so she has access to that.
To have a whole spear though, like it's one thing when you're like melting it down to use it as a trading currency, in which they were, or if you're using it to install weapons. By the way, if you watch the Instagram, I think a couple days ago I posted something, and that might be a way where this had happened. If you guys know what that is, and we'll go into deeper dives on that, as a lot of other stuff we
maybe it's a relic that she just happened to procure over the, you know. Like maybe she didn't have that made for herself, because didn't the Mandalorians use that kind of tool like way back in the day in the comics? So it could just be a relic that she found a spear she came across.
I was under the impression, since she strip mines planets, that like while she was going through and strip mining Mandalore or Malachor 5, she probably had gotten this made for her.
Same.
But you're right, Pete. Hey, Pete.
It's possible.
On to Oprah, and it was just like, you get Beskar, you get Beskar for everybody. And then, you know, now the galactic universe has a bunch of Beskar.
Obviously, you know, if you've watched any of our shows before, you know what I wanted. I wanted the dark saber versus the two light up. I wanted a saber battle. So
that's not out of the realm of possibility. Remember what Favreau said? He was kind of comparing it to Game of Thrones. He wanted to expand the show into many characters. So, and characters have a tendency to pop back up again, right? So I don't think.
Which unfortunately though, I think in this season, especially in this episode, it didn't expand the universe, right? Like this season really brought the universe very small to bring.
That's true.
To have Ahsoka cross paths with Mando, to have the name Thrawn come up, that really, and have somebody who people actually know who he was, like almost everybody know who he was. That really shortened the universe.
That's true. Yeah, it kind of retract a little bit.
Well, but you know,
if you think about it from the uninformed fan, right, the people that don't necessarily have seen Clone Wars or Rebels, to like my dad and a lot of my friends who watch the show that are not Star Wars people, they're like, whoa, who are all these people they're talking about? Who the heck is this guy now? And what's his importance? And they always ask me like I know. And I'm like, well, I do watch Clone Wars and Rebels. But so I think it's from your a certain point of view.
Right, it is from a certain point of view. Yeah, I mean, I try not to get. That's why I like the solo syndrome. Like, I was trying not to get into that too much because, like, it just is from my like, and I get it. Like, people are like, "Oh, I was crying when I saw her." It's like, yeah, but like, it was great, but you know what I mean? Like, and that's what's great about Star Wars, right? Like, everybody can have a different opinion, and everybody can be right about it too, which is kind of awesome, right?
Well, what bugs me, it's not bugging, but I think I wish they could do more than 8 episodes because I just feel like the writing has to be compressed and they have to fit a lot in. Like Clone Wars had, what did they have? 18, 20? I don't know how many, but they had more than 8. So I'm thinking like they have to squeeze a lot in, and if you think about it, it's not a full hour show.
No,
it's a half an hour to 42-minute show.
But with that being said, they can expand it now to 4 seasons. Because if you did it hour-long shows in 2 seasons, we would be done with season 3 by now.
Yes.
There's not enough.
Right.
There isn't enough to.
You're right.
They would have got rid of
Pete said there's not a huge main plot line, right? It's like Baby Yoda and Mando quest after quest.
Should I look at the comments because there's already over 100.
It more digestible though, because if you like. It gives you time to like sit in each world. Okay, no, not next one.
Yeah,
but
yes, that's a good point.
And I think it'll feel better once we have more Star Wars shows. It's not just one.
Yeah.
Once other things roll out, it won't feel as limited.
I agree.
I have to wait a whole year now for.
Yeah.
So real quickly, because we did not follow our timeline at all. We just spoiled everything as usual and just went off the rail. But with that, remember Cara Dune or what's her real name?
Gina Carano.
Yeah. She had brought up when they'd asked her that, like, all these names, and she went through all the characters, and the last character, Thrawn, was in that group. That's the last one we actually haven't seen yet. There's 3 episodes left. Do we feel we're going to see him, or do we think that's, like, are they doing another one? I might actually, listen, that's my gamer tag in a lot of Star Wars games, okay? You know, I mean, it's one of the pins I have. We definitely, it's one of, if you look in the corner, it's one of the symbols we originally, when we were doing these shows, like these are the 3 symbols that I really chose out to do before we were even doing Mando shows. So obviously those 3 characters mean something to me. With that being said, like, I don't know, man. Like, do we want to see him before? I mean, we do, right? But we don't, like, because then it's kind of like they did it again, right? Like now we've already used the look through the hole and hey, there's nothing dangerous here and get hit. I don't want to see that scene again for the rest of the, like, next season either. I don't want to see that again, right? Like we've seen it twice already.
Well, I don't think Thrawn is Mando's big baddie, right? Like you said, Moff Gideon is. And so would they show the big baddie of Ahsoka if kind of like, I don't know if they're doing show building here or they're doing world expansion of Mandalorian.
No, they're doing show building. Absolutely 110% they're doing show building. Here, after I watched it the first time, I had a sinking feeling in my gut as the gullible fan because I was like, okay, we know Ahsoka's coming when she's coming. I didn't think we were going to see her until like the last 2 episodes, possibly. So for her to show up now, after this one was all said and done and over, it dawned on me that I too, as many of the fans, got so wrapped up in the Ahsoka hype and when she was going to come, what was going to happen. I think we have another reveal of another character that's even possibly bigger. And after it was all said and done, I went, oh, I fell for it too. That was really dumb of me. Like they did the, hey, watch the shaking left hand and hit the left right. And I was watching the left hand all day long. I think after when she says Jedis, she reveals so much stuff in this. They snuck him out of the tower during 66. Okay, so now we know that other Jedis got the child out during that siege of Anakin killing younglings and all of that. Is that timeline not right? Because that's what she alludes to. So now,
no, not getting out though. That's very interesting, and we'll go over some of that.
And she absolutely drops that there is more, not a ton, but there is more, multiples. So definitely more than 2 or 3. We're looking at how many Jedi that are out in there, because she absolutely says they'll come, they'll find you. So I mean, that's a whole nother.
It's a big galaxy, though.
They gave a whole big storyline feed into what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
real quickly with that, and I just want to say this real quickly because we're also Tombstone fans. It was great to see Johnny Ringo show up.
Oh,
Johnny Ringo.
Tombstone. There's so much more with Michael Biehn.
Listen, Johnny Ringo, don't hurt. Like, I'm here. I'm here.
Right.
Like, what were you? That was awesome. I actually really liked that. He played it. You knew what he was doing. You know he was going to try to go for the sneak gun real quickly.
Yeah,
Doc Holliday was going to gun him down.
It's not just Ringo. Like again, going to Michael Biehn, you got the HK droids, Hunter Killers. That's Terminator. Terminator. Yep. What did Kyle Reese rock when he got in there? Shotgun. What in Aliens when they we got to take all our bullets away? What did he pull out? Oh, I keep this around for close encounters.
Yep, close encounters.
What was Michael Biehn using this episode? A shotgun.
Yes.
Yeah. He actually had it, but yeah.
And I saw it earlier. Somebody in the chat said they wasted Michael Bihn's talents, and I disagree. I think this is what he has built. This is what they use him for. Like you said, Pete, he had to go at the end.
The Johnny Ringo showdown, like the intro where he sees him, and you can tell there's that right the first time where he goes, "You must be Doc Holliday." And he goes, "You must be a hunter." Like that was too good. It was just too good.
When he put his shotgun down, my son said, "Oh, that guy's coming back." I was like, "Nope, he's putting him down."
And then that's like Doc Holliday in the woods, dude. It was too good, man. Like I said, this episode was just amazing with how much stuff they got there. But let's get back to it because this is where there's a lot of stuff going in. Obviously, we see the attachment there. How did you guys feel of the connection voice? Not real. I mean, the name thing was fine. Everything was all right. But and all the information that she gave out was a lot, and we'll decompress that. But like, how did you feel about the of course I'm speaking to him through telepathic powers and me and Jean Grey there.
She said in a way, like she kind of alluded that she was communicating, but it wasn't completely clear.
Well, she sure did have a lot of information.
I think she has a lot of experience and was filling in a lot of the gaps for him. Saying, hey, you couldn't carry it out. I know what happened there. I don't think he was like, yeah, and then we stopped by and then we got some fries on the way. Like, I don't think he was giving a full recap of what happened to him. I think it was just very vague because he's still little.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't get who got him out of the temple. We didn't get a lot of we just got like Peter said, vague details. So as the watcher, we're like, names? You're not a clone? Like, holy crap.
I was so glad. Yeah, that was it. The clone thing. So let's go through because I did the fourth time I watched it or whatever.
Wait, Marco, I wanted to answer your question about what we felt about it, and I wanted to hear what Wookie had to say too about this. I thought it was great. I liked the communication. Finally, he got to articulate himself, Grogu. But I did not like when she said there's a lot of fear in him. And maybe it was my Phantom Menace nightmares coming back. But I kind of liked how they fixed it a little bit. How they said, well, he has a close connection to you. He's suppressing the force because he has to protect himself. He's kind of afraid. I get that. It was cool. But Wookie, you had said something right at the beginning of the season about Baby Yoda's he's not as little as he's leading on to be. He's not so helpless. And I got that now. It's kind of there's a reason why he's not so helpless. He's kind of holding back a little bit because he's afraid. People want to use him. The Empire wants to get his blood,
Well, and she absolutely touches on it in her explanation, and when she's talking again about him being smuggled out. And I think that's where a lot of his fear stems, is because he doesn't know who he can and can't trust, because he does have that recollection of the stuff that happened and him having to be smuggled out and him having to be helped by people. And it seems as though she kind of almost alluded a little bit to not knowing whether or not he could trust the people who were smuggling him out. And it sounds like that there was an altercation or a complication somewhere along that. After he had gotten out, there was a little bit of trouble. And so he has now had to hide his powers, and he doesn't know yet quite who he can and can't trust. was it Kevin? Kevin made a comment, or I think it was Kevin. It was either JJ or Kevin made a comment earlier about how he being left on his own. He almost force choked. What's her butt? Yeah, he almost force choked her to death, and then Mando got him. So he is kind of allowed to be left alone, but he has had to protect himself a time or two.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it goes way back to episode 1 when he first meets Mando, because Mando rescues him basically, and they had that, the famous ET touch with the fingers. But anyway, sorry, Marco, back to regularly scheduled.
Well, like when they were talking, and yeah, it was a little odd when they were doing that whole mind talking kind of. But what do they call that, Marco? The Vulcan mind meld. Is that what that was?
Get out of here!
That's exactly what it was.
I'm muting him right now. He's being muted. That's ridiculous. We don't talk like that.
I thought that whole planet did look a little bit like Vulcan. So yeah,
you both are gonna get kicked. I'm serious. I'm gonna get to a lot of these questions that have been flashing up on the screen. The actual training thing, we'll get into that. But actually, like Luke didn't pick anybody up to train him till 15 ABY. It's 10, so it'd be technically 5 years. That was Kylo Ren. He was the first person after he trained his sister. His sister was in 5 ABY, and then she like split and handed it because she was going to have the kid, and then she saw a vision. So he, as far as canon goes, Luke Skywalker didn't start training anybody to 15Y. If you're talking about the training academy, which the Jedi Training Academy was run by him, and then after 15 ABY, I think it was still a couple of years before he started picking up other members. That is canon written in. Can they change it? Sure, they can change whatever they want.
Yeah, I don't know.
JJ had something good. JJ always has something good. JJ, good to see you. Kev, by the way, great to see you. Liked your video. Go watch Kev's video. He always has something on there that's pretty cool, man. I always like to see different points of views on stuff.
JJ was the one earlier who was talking about Michael Bain and wasting his acting talent, I think.
Really? No, he's got opinion.
Let me throw one quick training thing out there to you guys. Like, didn't you think it was kind of interesting that, all right, you figured timeline-wise how old he is, and you go back to prequels. If he was trained in the Jedi Temple, Ahsoka says he was trained by many Jedi Masters. So he hasn't had, and he had to have been really, really little at that point.
Yes.
And remember that. He probably hasn't had a lot of consistent one-to-one relationship, which is why, he's so, kind of looped in now with Mando.
Well, especially since he's Yoda and Yaddle's baby, nobody wanted to piss off the boss. You train the boss's kid, you got to, go easy, man.
I didn't know it was Yoda and Yaddle. It could have been Yaddle and Kit Fisto.
So that's what JJ brought up on the screen, and I wanted to hit it up. And we're going to go into some of the Jedis that could still be around in a little bit, but the Yaddle thing. So if you look at Ahsoka said she only knew Yoda. Right. Yeah. Okay. So she obviously knew him more. We actually, believe it or not, if for all those people that watch our regular Wednesday show, it's taped. We have taped already a Yaddle show. We're going to release it this week anyways. Watch that show. It's going to answer a lot of Yaddle questions. It will not answer this question why she doesn't know him. My assumption is you do have to remember, like when they brought her over, like Yaddle had disappeared in the canon version, not where she ends up sacrificing herself in the legacy version, but in the canon version, she does leave the Jedi Council right around the first Clone Wars type movie. So we get to see her there for a little bit, and then
having a baby out of wedlock.
Well, and then I thought like that Shaak Ti was already in her place when during
the trial.
Yeah.
So during the trial, for sure, Shaak Ti was already in there, and you have to assume the other scene. I'd have to go watch again. Yeah. But I assume that the other scene when she gets in front of the council, Shaak Ti's already in place, or Opa or somebody like that. So, hey, she could very well have not ran into Yaddle. But we do think Yaddle's there.
Well, Jedis aren't allowed to have attachment. So if they had a baby, they just had to,
give it away.
Yeah, she had to
leave. If you watch our video, that's not what happened, but
I haven't seen it. I wasn't part of that one, so I'm just throwing.
Yeah, it was. But actually, it was real. It's a skeleton crew. It's just me, Solo, and Jen. I know Leaky's getting the editing done as quickly as possible, so hopefully we're going to have that out there. Leaky, are we going to have it by Wednesday?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to have that out there. So make sure Wednesday. We might move that to 9 o'clock. I think it'll show better at 9.
Maybe this is collectibles. I want you to carve that into a tree somewhere.
What's that? What'd you say? Kev's collectible. What did he got?
Carve that into a tree someplace. Yaddle plus Yoda equals Grogu.
Well, this.
Oh,
wanna see
sorry.
that New York subway.
These yins are in here. You got to watch out for yins.
Wait, real quick. Remember how who here has played Fallen Order? Pete, have you?
No, not yet.
No.
I'll
So
get around.
Cal had to hide his power for a while, and then he kind of forgot how to like use something. So it took time to like rebuild it back up. So if baby Grogu was hiding his power, then he's gonna forget a lot of the things because it's like you're not constantly using like muscle.
Yes.
You two, these guys right here, that guy and Jen, you kind of remind me about one point that I was about to go on to, and then I took it away because I wrote down some of the wording she was saying when she went through that one part, right, where she was explaining everything they said, looks that way out there. Don't do that. But she said, then someone took him. And then, so she said, so after they hit him, then somebody took him. She didn't say the Jedi took him, the Jedi, like she was inferring when you get the first part, it was inferring a protector or somebody there took him. The second part of that is very, very interesting because as we know, have we gotten to this? We might have touched on this in a couple other things, but I just want to bring this character back up. Do remember around this time, and this is the Grand Inquisitor was roaming the hallways trying to prove to Darth Vader that he was turning into a Sith and everything else. And she said he turned very dark. He turned very dark after he was removed from the temple. It'd be very interesting if they brought if it was the Grand Inquisitor who was the one that, because I don't think it, like, I know Solo was kind of saying this, but I don't think it was somebody after they hit him. I don't think it was somebody of the light side of the Force that grabbed him. I'm pretty sure that it had to either be an Imperial or somebody very dark. And if somebody at the age of, because at that point he'd be 40, who'd been training already for 40 years, would have that much of the Force, like even his fear, they could feel that. And who's better to feel the fear than a dark side character and go after? I'm not saying the Grand Inquisitor is going to come up, but there's a lot more references that they made towards that game and towards the Inquisitors.
Because he was a guardian, right? A Jedi guardian in the temple.
Yeah, he was. Well, yeah, temple guard. Yeah,
temple guard. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said that Grogu's thoughts went dark.
Yeah.
Which is usually which is usually the point where the corruption occurs. In past, especially in canon, when they start turning people dark, that's when it goes dark. They start trying the corruption. And that's kind of a reference to starting of the corruption. And you figure,
I love how they played it too, because it could have meant his thoughts just went blank or they went dark. I loved the word.
Well, and I think that they made it very open so they could do multiple things depending on how they needed to spin it. But in my mind's eye, the person who took him was dark and was trying to turn him to, you know how they slowly turned Anakin into Vader. They slowly turned him from a Jedi, and Palpatine poked and prodded him, feeding him little bits of dark. And I think that's kind of what they were trying to do with the child now, is they knew who he was, they knew what he is, they know his capabilities, and slowly were trying to feed him into the darkness and feed his fear, feed his anger.
Well, that's also how they made Inquisitors.
Yeah, very much so.
So this is kind of what we were talking about, Kev. Cool. Yeah. So remember that the Grand Inquisitor actually worked for Jasanu, right? Like, he actually worked for her, and he always felt like because she wouldn't let him get into the more advanced stuff, he got upset, and that's kind of what started his bad taste in turning on it. So I would not be surprised if that had something to do with it too. She did have the master list of all the younglings. I'm missing all this stuff.
So I don't know if you guys caught it, but after she talks about taking the child and putting him on the stone and letting him call out to the Jedi, if you listen to that little snippet of music, it sounds very much like the original theme from Star Wars, from A New Hope. It's only for a few seconds, but they absolutely play, and then it changes into a different kind of song. But it absolutely is a small key of the original A New Hope soundtrack, the original Star Wars theme song.
I caught that too.
It was really interesting the way they did that. Was it a hint? Was it an accident? Was it a placation on the fans' emotions? Is it a hint like, oh, hey, by the way, be pretty easy to toss Mark Hamill back in here like, hey, I see him, but I'm not going to train him and go back.
Yeah.
So we can get into that in 1 second. I just want to hit a couple of these more comments up. Kev, because we started talking about this. So Kev, yes, he is in current timeline canon. He is. So around this time, he would probably still be that like trapped evil dark side force ghost. However, well, 50-50, he kind of did disintegrate. But at the time that Ahsoka was referring to, he actually he had either just turned to the dark side or he was turning. So it could have been like, hey, you get this little baby and prove that you're actually converting to the dark side. And that's what made him a Grand Inquisitor instead of just a regular Inquisitor. Shannon, you said yes about the librarian. At the time, once again, she was alive that this had happened. She was hiding a lot of the stuff for the younglings, but she has ceased to desist. Darth Vader took her head. Or no, did he? Somebody did. One of them two.
I think they showed him doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe Leia. Maybe Leia will. So what are you saying? So are you getting into the what Jedis are left? And wait, can we? What time is it? Okay, it's 48. Okay, we have to get the story system.
A bunch of Jedis and a bunch of trainers.
We'll get into we will get into those, but we have to get the scoring down because we make sure that we score the episode.
I took that as pure audience manipulation, Solo. I was right there with you, man.
Before the hour's up. So
I think a lot of people were.
Let's break out the pad. We'll go over the old scores. We'll do the new scores, and then we'll start getting into who Jedis are left and who could this be and all about the stone and the planet. We still have to get into the planet, and we have to get to giving away. Oh, wait. Are we giving away something? We have to give to something else in a little bit. We will see.
Before you do all this, I would like to give a big shout out. Rest in peace, Dave Prowse.
Yeah.
You were the original Vader, and you will always be the original Vader. And I'm sorry to hear of his passing. That's we've lost a lot of the original characters.
Agreed.
That is unfortunate. We are all getting older, and it does happen. But they're bringing new ones in. So yes. Sorry to hear he passed.
Look into the future.
Yeah, but he's a Force ghost now, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Force ghost. All right, let's go through it. Oh, we're starting off. Should we start with Solo or Pete? We'll start with Solo because he's on the list. 9. He gave it a 4. He gave 10 a 3, 5 11, 12 a 3. Just for everybody that's new or hasn't been watching this before, we pretty much graded on a 5 Mandalorian helmet system. Pretty much our criteria is how much of the Star Wars feeling it had, the nostalgia factor, did the storyline advance, that type of stuff. We'll go over more detail, but storytelling, visual effects, Easter eggs / callbacks. Is it continuing the Star Wars universe, and did it have that Star Wars feeling? Solo Lucky, 4353. Give us 13. What do you got? How many helmets?
You guys are gonna be so mad. You know me, I am overcritical always. I really want to give it a 4.5, but I think I'm gonna go a 4.
4 it is.
There's a lot of stuff with. There's a lot of little things that just didn't, and unfortunately, it was just those little things that I didn't buy that really.
Okay, was it because they didn't make Ahsoka's hair long enough, or her head tails? Was that it?
Her headgear is a little small. If you look on one side of her design on her forehead, they're not even. One of them is jacked up. The way she is holding her sabers and when she's fighting, she looks very uncomfortable. I don't think they gave her enough time in training. I don't think they gave her enough time to prep for the role. I think her voice is off. It felt uncomfortable every time I watched her, like she was having trouble trying to portray it, like her heart wasn't all the way into it. Whereas, like Marco had brought up a little bit ago, if you had the original voice there, she is that character. She has the heart. It's why everybody saw Bo-Katan and went, oh man, this is Bo-Katan. This girl is the heart of Bo-Katan. I think we kind of missed a little bit of that on Ahsoka, and I think Dawson's a good actress. I just don't know that I bought her heart being into this role, and that makes me a little sad.
Every time you guys say Dawson, I think of James Vanderbeek. Rosario, or I don't know
who that is. That's not somebody I've ever seen do anything before, so I wouldn't.
No, you didn't watch Dawson's Creek when you were younger.
Absolutely not. 100%.
I know who you're talking about, Pete.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about.
If you didn't have a crush on Joey Potter, you haven't lived.
Joey Potter. No, seriously, I never watched that TV show. Now you make me look bad because I actually have never seen it. So that goes. So we always tried to go with a solo Wookiee grumpy old man, get off my lawn, to a positive light in the Force who maybe overgrade stuff. Jen, we'll go over your grades. 5 on 9, 5 on 10. 11 got a 5+. By the way, that was solo Wookiee. Everything you said makes sense because you gave 11 a 5, right? So like he's on point with what he's saying. Last episode was 4.5. Jen, I assume you're going to try to create a grade for this one too.
I mean, I know I can't anymore, so I'll say a 5. I really liked the use of how she used the Force when she cut the tree, Force pushed the chunk out, like how she disappeared into the fog, turning on and off the lightsabers. I will say for a split second, I think because of seeing Ray Park portray Darth Maul and then hearing the voice of Sam, we got spoiled with that because it's like, oh, that's a thing that could happen. So when we first heard her speak, I was like, oh, they could have done the same thing here. But then I'm like, well, it's Rosario Dawson. You're not going to have her dubbed, right? And then I'm like, okay, like, and I let go of it because when I really wanted that, it didn't happen. I'll just move on. Like, do we need more time hearing her? Yes. Like, but I think that she'll just get better and better the more we see her. It was cool seeing like Lothcats and like there's tons of Easter eggs in this episode. We learned a ton. Like, would it be a 5+ if I can do that? Then I would. But I do see what Solo Wookiee is saying. Like, there's room for improvement. But I was so happy watching this. Like,
we'll give you a 5+ on that one too. All right, you're the only one that gets pluses.
But I was really happy watching this. Like, I've watched it twice now. I've been stuck at work, so I couldn't do it like 3 or 4 times. But I definitely want to rewatch it again. Like, I'm also very hopeful for Star Wars future. Like, there's just so many different directions, and now at this point, we get just to see it unfurl and enjoy because we can speculate on a few things, but like we really don't know where they're gonna like pivot. But it's fun.
Oh, it's back to me. That was brilliant. I liked it. And you're right about all that. Like, I think that's kind of like the one cool part though. Like, we've always said, like, we don't know any of this, but like we get some of it right. We get some of it wrong. I think that's even like the people who said, like, we know everything about this. They've gotten some of it right and some of it wrong. And it's good to like be able to have Star Wars that you can get right and wrong. And I think some of it, like this show, we've always kind of fan pushed what we wanted. So it's good that we're getting some of it right. Okay, up next, Leaky. We got 5. You gotta get done in 5 minutes because then after that we have to go to the next thing.
I want to hear you and Pete too, so I'll hang out for a few minutes. I got to hear all the grades, but I'm gonna give this one. Okay, this is gonna sound a little weird. The episode itself, I want to give a 5 because I thought the writing, the direction, the sound design, the cinematography, and I love Kurosawa films. I love the old samurai films. The way they made it an action episode, but they had slow moments of the episode, it would as a standalone episode, it was absolutely fantastic. I do have a few issues with Rosario Dawson I felt like she was playing more Rosario Dawson than she was playing Ahsoka. I did feel that way, but I'm with Jen. I think they need an actress with chops to do this. So I'm okay with it. I want to see more. But here's my 2 critiques where I would probably knock it down a bit, but I'm going to give it more. I'm going to give this episode the break and give it the 5. But here's my 2 issues I had. I don't like the fact that it's becoming the quest show. I get it. It's kind of like Kung Fu, but it was like at the very end, Ahsoka goes off back to her mission and they're like, okay, now you got to go on the next quest. And I'm like, man, there's only 3 episodes left. But when you think about what you said, I changed my mind a little bit. You said something earlier, Pete, that the base structure of the story is pretty simple, right? It's the lone wolf and the cub moving on to the next destination. And what better way to set the groundwork for other shows? Yeah. I was throwing Wookiee a bone earlier when I said show builder versus it absolutely is a Disney Plus show builder, but you couldn't have done it better. And it does make me hopeful for the future of Star Wars, like Jen said. So the episode, I give a 5, but I got a little bit like, and the people I was watching it with, they're like, oh, Jesus, every episode going to be fight the big boss at the end, right? Move on to the next big boss. And I get that. But to be honest, who cares? I love it. Keep it coming. It's like cotton candy, right? You feel a little sick after you eat it, but you want more cotton candy.
That's a 5, right? That's a 5?
5.
That's some good stuff. There's a lot of it now. I think I just changed my grade and not in the right way. Pete, go ahead. You're up.
All right. Well, I'm just going to go 5. I mean, I get it. I get the critiques, but ultimately when I watched it, I was just excited and just loving every second of just watching it. I get that Rosario Dawson doesn't sound like Ashley Eckstein or Eckstein. I don't know how you say it, but still, I figured this is an older Ahsoka. She's in a different place. I don't know what she's gone through. I don't know where she's been. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, let her move forward. If we see her in her own series, great. But for this one, again, total Akira Kurosawa movie. If I could sit and watch, if I didn't have any responsibilities, if I didn't have like housework, things to do on the weekend, I'd love to just spend the afternoon just watching an Akira Kurosawa movie because it's just beautiful work. And there are tons of quiet moments in there amongst, action, and you got the samurais. But I would love to be able to do that. And I love that this episode kind of touched onto that, that little bit. But I don't know. I didn't have huge issues, didn't want to nitpick because ultimately I understand this is still a TV show. Like, I know we all want to think about it like a film, but this is still a show that's on Disney Plus. So as great as it looks, it still doesn't have the budget behind it that a film would. So they have to cut corners where they can. So if some of the action, just like any TV show, the action's never as great as what they could do like on a film. They don't have the time to spend like a week filming just 1 2-minute scene. Like they got to get it done. Like they got to move.
Jen said it. They have to make it digestible.
Exactly. So I give them the benefit of the doubt that it's a show. And for that, I also understand that in this environment that we're in, we're getting more shows. We're not getting a lot of more movies because people can't go or aren't going to the theater. So everything's shifting. So they're going to start putting their money towards these shows. So this world building and show building, I'm super excited for because I love going to the theater, but at the same time, I love being able to watch this stuff in the comfort of my house at my pace and when I'm free. So I don't know. It was a 5 from everything. The little nuggets they gave. I love seeing Michael Biehn, as I told you before, like just the little tidbits they put in there for people who love Star Wars. I've only really watched the movies. I haven't read all the books. I haven't read all of the comics. I know what I know. I enjoy it on multiple levels and love hearing the things that I don't know about. Like from you guys, when you're like, oh, this goes back to that. I was like, I didn't know that, but I loved it anyway. That just makes me love it even more.
Amen, Pete.
All right, so Pete was 535 because he started late with us, but he'll be on for you're committing to the rest of them, right? There's 3 shows left, so I think Pete said he's committing to the rest of them. That's great. It's a great add-on. We appreciate it. Remember, Pete kind of started out with us in the beginning when I was doing terrible shows and just hoping that anybody would watch.
I was just doing anything anybody would let me and taking too much onto my plate. So now I got to focus on what I love, and Star Wars is one of those things.
So I was actually going to have it at a 4.5. And then I heard everybody's explanation about like, oh, well, Eckstein, she doesn't have the acting chops. And that, well, and then I was just thinking like, man, and then I kind of went back down. I went down to 4. And then I heard about the Japanese movies and I went back up to like a 4.5 because I was like, dude, I do love it. And then I just watched something called The 5 Elements, which is like a Korean version of the Japanese films. And then I thought about the fighting scenes because you guys were talking about the fighting scenes. I was like, oh yeah, that's typically how it is. It's usually like one person's good in it, the other person does the same 3 moves again, and they should have trained her a little bit better. And I understand they rushed her. And I get it. Like, look, I get it. I'm also one person that doesn't like some of the cheap stuff they do. Like, I don't like that you put Darth Maul at the end of a solo show for no reason at all. But like, hey, I understand that I'm not the only fan of Star Wars, and the more people that love it, I'm happy because I want more quality Star Wars. So with that being said, I'm trying to decide on what I'm going to give it. We all heard my opinion on Eckley. I think I'm going to have to move it. I'll give the past one. So far I've given 5, 4, 5, 3. I just went back up to 4.5. I'm going to give it the 4.5. It gets the 4.5 out of me. I mean, it wasn't enough to move it back down to a 4. Just the scenery and everything else that was going on there. Yes, I think Roseo, she'll get it down. She will. It did seem a little bit rushed. I think Soul's right. It did seem like she didn't even like they could have like used the actual the martial art person that they used a little bit more to show a little bit more scenes. They had her in the dark. You could have seen some more flipping at that point. You could have seen a little bit more from the long camera view.
It wasn't like Iron Fist on Netflix, though. It wasn't that bad. Like, you guys are being overly critical.
As far as
I want to leave you guys with 2 questions.
Wait. I'll let you guys all fit. As far as this, like, are you kidding me? Nobody ever said they grew even. Okay, look, does all your body parts grow even? Your facial hair now that's nitpicking, right? Like, that's nitpicking.
But look at Wookiee's beard now, and look at him 5 years ago. They get longer.
Oh, so they explained what that was. The person who does the aesthetics of the stuff said that they knew to go longer, but they couldn't figure a way for it to be like the right weight because it was too heavy, and then it also didn't help with the stunts.
Yes,
but CGI, but then that's more money, and
And I actually don't have a problem with it. I brought it up because I saw people on the internet. I was like, wow, people are really going deep.
See, Bob, that was kind of where it gets the 4.5. Like, I'm okay with them redoing the same stuff, but this sure does seem a lot like episode 11, right? We got a name drop at the end. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope that we don't keep doing that because Leaky's right. Like, when you watch it doesn't need to turn. We can have small mini battles. Like, I'm expecting mini boss, big boss. But like, do we really need to just name drop every time? I think we can sell it on like how, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sort of getting away from the name dropping. Like, that film was a 4.5, or that film, that the 38 minutes was 4.5 by itself. You didn't need to add that in my opinion, because then if you're going to do that, then do it. Like, bring Sabine in and have them jump on at the end and let's go. I mean, go all in. If you're going to go in, go all in. Like, just do
that's
it.
That's why I said they're show building. They're not building this. They're not world building. They're show building.
Did you guys ever watch Arrow or Flash?
Yeah, for a while.
They would bring a character into it to then like, oh, you like it? Here's now a TV show about it. Like, once this is done, though, once they have their shows built out, we shouldn't be seeing constant like.
I agree.
Well, and again, like I said, I think that a lot of us were so focused and really on the shaking left hand that now we're going to see that right jab come in. We have how many people that we can see now. They've really opened it up, and there's no guessing. Because I mean, we could see it going from Mark Hamill to Thrawn to Sabine to Ezra to, I mean, the line now is absolutely ridiculous. You can't even speculate how they're going to turn and bring something new in. And again, I think Dawson has a good acting chops. I think she did okay for what they allowed her. I don't feel it's really her fault so much as I think that, again, she was rushed, and I think that they became ill prepared or ill planned. And I think the big scary might have had a little to do with that and how they had to film it towards the end and rushing it because of all the shutdowns and all of that stuff. So, and I'm going to ruin it. You guys are all going to go back and watch it and be like, that Wookiee, that grumpy old SOB, he was right. If you watch when she's deflecting the lasers and she's on top of that roof right before she gets into hand-to-hand combat in the doors and battling the gal, if you watch when she like tries to skate away and she's deflecting the laser shots from the people in front of the doors, it's really awkward, and you can tell she doesn't feel comfortable. And
when she's playing tennis, you mean when she's playing tennis?
Yeah,
it's
the tennis scene.
It does not play well. It does not visually play well. You can tell she's uncomfortable. You can and that was the one real bad scene.
Yeah. Well, you add in the fact that it's still Dave Filoni, who's not had a lot of experience.
Right.
He's learning, but he's
Right.
You know, he doesn't.
Well, that was a question I wanted to leave you guys
We
with.
need to do that take again. Like he
Yep.
probably might be like, you know what? I think we got it. We'll work with what we got.
That was the question I wanted to leave you guys with because I have to go. Was when do you guys think they hired Rosario Dawson? In bigger picture, when do you think Filoni and Favreau decided like they're going to bring in Ahsoka? They're going to bring in Thrawn, right? Was that something that happened between season 1 and season 2 where they're like, okay, we're going to be building shows here. We're going to upset expectations instead of like giving these little hints to characters. It's what you said, Wookie. They opened the door, man. It is wide open now. All of our speculation was like, oh, well, they're going to bring in Ahsoka. They're going to bring this. It's like in the first 4 episodes, they brought everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. I think she was set. Obviously, you know, we had heard that like she was shooting stuff right before the show happened. And we've always said we don't think that's true. We think this was like first season starts doing hot, and they're like, yeah, cool. This is what we're doing. We're bringing her. You know, like we're gonna have him direct it because he had his own episode that he directed. You know, like I think that was the plan from the get. I don't think that portion was thrown through poorly. Obviously, maybe now that's not such a secret. A little bit more training can go down and stuff like that, and they'll do a good job. I mean, look, Pete said it right. This is like Dave. Is this his third one? Like, yeah, it's his third one, man. For that, it's so amazing what he did.
Yeah,
but are you gonna give him a perfect score? I mean, he did a great job, but it is his third one, so there's definitely some room to improve. And I think every single time they keep setting the ceiling so high that you're like, you give Jen's kid she's gonna give episode like 17 pluses at one episode because if you start out at a 5, like how much higher can you go, right? You know what I mean? So like,
I mean, if you guys have seen where they've thrown hundreds of millions of dollars and months and months and months in a movie, what he achieved on a small budget, you know, smaller comparatively for a one episode of a TV show, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't want to not give him credit for what he's done. He has done an amazing. They're really knocking out of the park. They're really, really doing a good job. I wholeheartedly pat on the back to all those directors and producers and everyone that's involved in what they're doing. I mean, they're carrying Disney Plus single-handedly.
Yeah. And let's not forget, their 2 main stars are a guy who you can't see his face and a puppet. All of this with that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and to my knowledge, last I looked, they're getting more views than any Walking Dead, any Simpsons, any show that's been on ever. They have more viewers right now than anything. So, I mean, that says a lot. That speaks high volumes about what they're doing.
It does. Leaky has to go, but guess what? After this, we're going to do it. What do we want to get into? Do we want to go into the planet where they sent them? Do you want to get into what Jedis are left? Do you want to get into giveaway? What do we want to do here, guys?
Jedi left.
Jedi left. All right, Leaky. Thank you very much. We always appreciate
you guys.
It.
I wish I could stay longer. I love listening to you guys. And
all right, put us on in the background.
Force be with you.
Check out Low Bricks. They're doing good stuff over there. Links down low. Do it. All right. We'll see you later. Always. Always. All right. Jedi that are left. We're going with Jedi that are left. Everybody wants Jedi that are left? Okay. Sure. Jedi that are left. I made a little just scratch. There's probably more than this. I didn't do a ton. Obviously, there's 2 big ones that we kind of can. Well, okay. So there's 2 that like right off the bat when they were saying it, I was like, these are strong possibilities. 50-50 possibilities. Like 50-50 they could do it. Obviously, Luke. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, Luke could be one because we know around this time period he's not training anybody anymore. The 50 part is that we know what he's doing. He's going around to Jedi temples, and I think that's part of the explanation. We probably should go over first we should probably go over the planet and what the significance of that planet is and kind of what else goes on. In a book, let me get back to the okay, we're going to switch back now because I got to leave the chat for a second. So, for those of you and Solo, we will get to that. We're going to get to
Have you guys seen this?
Yeah, the art, the fan
art.
The Boss Logic. Yeah.
Except for he did it for 13.
Recast, but I still don't want to see Luke.
Yeah, so I do too. I think you can make him look younger anyways. So in this book, I don't know if Leaky's going to go dive into a shelf and pull it out, but we these are always good books to dive into. This is Star Wars: The Complete Locations. In this one, it kind of explains the new canons and how it works. Is there's 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 planets that they theorize are the first Jedi temples. Right? You got Echo To, the one that you see him, the one you see Luke on in the newer movies, right?
Two.
Yeah, no. That one. You got Coruscant. We all know that there's that ancient Jedi temple on Coruscant, right? Mm-hmm. That's the one where they're hiding Baby Yoda. You've got the planet they blew up in Rogue One, Jaffa or whatever. That was supposed to be one of the original ones. And then you got something called Ossus. Ossus, they keep doing more about that one, and it seems like where the timeline is fault. Am I saying that wrong? OSSUS.
I think it was Scarif. Was it Scarif from Rogue One?
Jafar. That was the one that they went to, but I think wasn't Jafar or whatever the one they blew up. Well, they blew up something. They've blown up too many planets, man. This and everybody's from all the
sounds right. I think it was Scarif.
Was it Scarif? The
Rogue One.
Yeah, the one where they had the original.
Oh, the temple, the jet in the beginning with the.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever it's called, look it up. Look it in that book. Go buy that book and look it up. Okay, so but the main ones that are around this timeline is like, and this is where the 50% Luke might not be there. He might be on that OS because like where the timeline kind of plays in, he finds certain scripts there, and we kind of figured that might be it, and he might be going to next to was it Tython? Tython, the planet they're going to now. And Tython's the last one, obviously. And so Tython's still there. We have seen Tython in current canon. You can hold up the book, Pete.
Oh, yeah. The last issue of Afra.
Dr. Afra, in the Dr. Afra book, she actually tricks Darth Vader into going there. There's this like force. Oh, if you look at this picture too, real interesting, because this is out of the Afra book. There's a character that looks like a Jedi meditating on what would look like a meditation stone, which is something she did mention. Ahsoka did mention in there. That being said, in there's like this truth tree, which would be kind of cool if they actually did it. That kind of what put that book's got a lot of cool stuff in it. Go out there and get 40 of the last volume, not this volume. It's a cool storyline. Pick it up. But there's other stuff that has kind of been hinted that might be on that planet. And one of the things that might be on that planet, and there's definitely a link to, is the High Republic, the new series that they're coming out of. So we could easily see like an Ajar Chris. That's the blonde lady that they're always using for the promotional art. Was it Kylo Ren 2? We know Luke eventually got the holocron of her, and we assume it's from this planet. So that's where that could link up with Luke Skywalker, is that he goes to this planet. There's definitely because the released or leaked chapters that came out, we know that Scott has already put it into the comics or whatever, that she's going to be there. Mm-hmm. She has something to do with this planet because they get stuff there. So that could be one of the links. It could be Luke Skywalker.
Well, it'd be easy to film. Again, Mark Hamill, he's alive, he's well. We know he could do it. I mean, you could toss him in there and it would roll right into the last 3 movies. By the way, Rise of Skywalker is Marco's favorite. And it rolls, you still have them, you still have the robes, you still have everything. So it'd be super easy to film.
Yeah, they did it in with Iron Man.
That's true.
Yeah, they de-aged
Downey.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't. I don't know. I've had enough Skywalker. Can this universe go beyond this one family? Can we?
So yeah, I think that's it. I think like when you look at the timeline that he isn't really training people, that it might be a misconnection, right? Like he won't be there. There could be.
Yeah, I just want like one montage shot of maybe Luke going like this, like, "Oh, I hear something," but I don't know to get my
side of the planet.
Yeah, and I don't think that it'd be anything long term. I think it'd be a quick like, "Oh, hey, here I am. Yes, I know that you exist. Yes, I know you exist. Yes, I know you're out there. I'm not going to train him. I am not training anybody right now. Peace out." And then you don't see him again.
That seems weird.
Which unfortunately would be.
We like your resume, but we're really not hiring right now. But we'll keep you in mind if something opens up.
I'm eyeing this kid named Ben over here, and I think I like him better than the little
Yeah, I don't know. He's family, like this kid. Yeah, like it's my sister's kid. I can't deal with you. You don't speak English. You just kind of make goo goo sounds. It's kind of weird.
You remind me a little bit
my master, and I'm teaching you.
Yeah,
they have set it up for that, though. They have set it up for that. They've set it up so that he'll just do a 2-minute cameo and go like, well, I'm not really teaching anybody. You're going to have to find somebody else. Know this, though. When you get on the stone, it's not just, it's like whatever force you project. So if he's angry, too, it's going to force do the dark side. We haven't even gotten into that section of it.
I was trying to not bring it up yet so we could get through the line.
We'll continue on with the Jedi's because we're not ever going to get to the dark side tonight. We're going to continue with, so like that's the part of Luke that is the 50% that's a no. The 50% that's a no is that like he's doing something else currently. He doesn't want to be doing it. We know that for a fact. There could be some like Doc Afro references because we do know that she did do a taping on that planet. So that would be interesting if they I'm not saying they're going to. That'd be interesting if all of a sudden while they're on that planet in an icy cavern, they come across a recording and did that.
Open up another show that they could be doing.
Number 2, one that I always do, and this is why I'm saying is
even if Luke doesn't show up, he's putting it out there. And right now, as far as we know, Luke would be the most powerful Jedi alive. So even if he doesn't show up, he still would know of his existence.
Yeah. Is Luke the most powerful?
No.
Because the next guy I'm going to talk about is Voss. And you know that this is a Dave this is a Dave favorite. He is a favorite of Dave's. And if they were to set something up later on, there could be a little bit of breadcrumbs towards Voss. Now, the last time we saw Voss, and I think the 50% isn't that, once again, somebody that could be there. The 50% I'm going to go with why he couldn't is because he's on Kashyyyk. And we have the Bad Batch coming off. And that's a Dave thing too. And we could easily see him help save Yoda and get him off with the Bad Batch. So that's it. Plus, we have to have a 1313 lead-in.
Wow.
And so that being said, like those are the 2 big ones that I think came to mind right off the bat that we could have easily gotten either one of those. I know people are trying to reference the old Dark Horse stuff, but considering they've done so much rework on this planet already in the new canon, and Pablo's in charge of a lot of that stuff, I think it's going to go more towards that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're going to see floating temple ships or stuff like that, unfortunately. I think it's going to be more based towards the people that they're planning on bringing back in to the fold. They definitely like to make loose reference to characters such as Luke. They definitely, I mean, Voss is a big one. There's a couple more that we have. Watch our special on Wednesday, but Yettl's still around, and she went into what could only be said as like what would that be called? A pilgrimage, pretty much. So there's some interesting things that go on that planet and that you could go to in the temple, the new temple that they redid there, not the ice one, but the actual one that's there. And that would, if you were on a pilgrimage,
explain that she leaves right before 66, Order 66. So she never
way before that.
Right,
she's
right.
Way gone. She's nowhere close. She went on a pilgrimage way before that.
Right.
Her apprentice Opa actually, which is another option, actually left too. And the reason why we're bringing up all these characters is because it ties into another video we'll be finishing getting edited in a week, because it's on the books for the week after that, which is the Fallen Order one. And these characters right here, there is Sarah and Cal. And this scene right here, they say, by the way, we're going to go out and start looking to redo the Jedi Order. And, well, you did at that. Go ahead, Jen.
Well, they don't remember he has that weird vision of like if they do that, that the Empire will come and hunt them down. So instead he destroys the holocron and then decides that like let the Force decide like what happens. So that the way I took it is if they come across a youngling, it's because the Force wants that to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so there we go. If you come across a youngling, of course the Force is going to want. Also, too, they do.
Hey, I need help. Like
they do also make a slight reference on how they're going to start traveling around to like look for more Force Jedi type stuff. So that's a very big possibility that you have those 2 in there. I mean, those all can play out pretty well. If the interesting part is, what if they're just sending them there to go to, which is probably the more likely part, What if they're sending them to go to other planets? Because eventually you have to have the boss fight, right? Like you have to get into the boss fight. So, I mean, realistically, that's probably what's going to happen. And if you go that route, there's two people that I was really thinking that we might be able to see there. Besides, if you're going to use, which would be excellent for like the Afra video clip hologram thing. You could also use the Avar Chris holocron. You could actually, depending on where Luke Skywalker is, Lore Santikin, the old man. Hold on, let me pull it up, and then I'll go back to comments so I can see what everybody's talking about. This guy right here, yeah. So at this time period, he has been traveling around with Luke and helping Luke not only create the star maps, but also like go to these Jedi temples and scout them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So we could very well see this guy show back up and be like, oh, well, there's a guy out there. He's now on planet X. And then they could be trying to make their way to planet X. Something occurs, gets them back to fight Moff Gideon or something to that effect. Very likely scenario in there. I think that's something we can see up. Did I cover everybody else?
Is Bears good or bad?
She's kind of in the middle right now, the last we know. Yeah, Bears, I mean, you could, but like she kind of was like getting retrained. We don't know if she fully did, but that's right. That's another Dave character that you could put up. We'll do a video on all the characters because these aren't all of them. There's definitely a couple more that are in there. You also got Ara Lin in there, who is the one in the new comic book who does the yellow, like it's when Luke finds the yellow saber, and she's like an in-between type character too. So there's definitely a bunch of characters you can do. Great stuff in all of them. That's cool. So let's see what the chat thinks about that, I guess, because that's kind of crazy. I hope I explained that well enough.
Well, so, okay, when she was Ahsoka, I was going to say Rosario Dawson, says he's going to go to the stone and decide his own fate. So it could be light or dark. Is there like a third option where, like, what would be the third option, do you feel like?
Buchu option? Yes. There's the middle option, the balance. But like to do the balance, like that's never like, that doesn't usually turn out well. Yes, he does, Kev. He had gone to the dark side-ish and come back, which means he'd be a great mentor. That was kind of our point. Like, we're going to break these down a little bit more in another video, and that was kind of like one of our points why he would be a kind of like a great element for that.
I think little Grogu, he's probably had more training than Luke ever got, so he's already like kind of trained. So he just kind of decide, you know what, I'm not going to get trained by anybody else. I know a few things. I'm cool. I'm going to go roll with my pops, and we're going to go wreck some shop out in the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, so the thing is, like, if you give up the baby, right, like, the show's done.
Yeah. So, well, I think be definitive. I mean, personal speculation. I think there's a definitive ending anyway, and I'm not sure either of them is going to make it out of this, but that's just my gut feeling.
I get it. I have a hard time buying that they're going to end it after 2 seasons or 3 seasons, and they're going to be like, okay, well, we're done, and we're going to do all these spin-offs.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I don't see it.
Why not?
You don't think it's going to lead into a Mandalorian of all the different sections, like the old Mandalorian and the...
Do other Bo-Katan. You can do her own. They can do other Mandalorian stuff, not follow this particular Mandalorian any further because he took them as far as he could go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's the two things. He's either going to become the Mandalorian. Or he's going to become Wolf. So those, I mean, that's where it ends. But when you do that, you can absolutely have them. He can come and help take back with the groups coming together, take back either Malachor or Mandalore, like, you know, and then he will either at that point will say bye-bye to Bo-Katan and he will be the Mandalore, or he will become Wolf. And like if he becomes full Wolf, we're not going to see the final battle will be Grogu holding a darksaber and then putting on a Revan mask. I mean, that's going to be the end of that, right? Like, so you're not going to see him in that final battle, or they're going to, you know, they could do the trumps of like, hey, we're going to take it that route. Cal, I don't think has ever been in comic before. That is Jen's favorite. She has been predicting now personally to us that Cal is showing up, and she will be very, very mad if he doesn't make an appearance in live action. Because, go ahead, Jen, go ahead. I mean, this is giving away some of our show on the other show, but
well, okay. I liked playing the game a lot. like, and then I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, it kind of reminded me of when I first played Batman. I was like Arkham Knight or like Arkham Asylum, like all those games where you got to be Batman and like play through the game. This was like the Jedi version where you get to be a Jedi and like go on this journey, and like the unfurling of it is like super fun. But then when I got really excited was when I found out Galaxy's Edge is going to sell Cal's lightsaber, and I was like, that's not for nothing. That's for something.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're wrong, Peter. I totally agree. There is an end. I think you're looking at 5-6 seasons before we see that end. And yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah, I don't think season 3 is it, but I don't know how far they're going to go. I don't think in 2028 we're still going to be talking about the Mandalorian. I think it's just going to be beyond that.
Do you think, like, we've seen? So it is in comics. We have seen the first Jedi Academy Jedi class of Luke Skywalker. Do you think they'll try to retcon this and say, like, he was off kit? Like, if they do the Luke thing, that Grogu, whatever, the child. Yeah. Why would you give me a name like that? Just call him the child. All right.
That's hard.
Do you think that the child? I like written it down 5 times. That's why I keep looking down, because I wrote it down so I would remember how to say it. Anyways, do you think that maybe they're gonna do the retcon and try to say that he was off screen, or do you think it's just easier if they do like the Cal thing makes sense? Like Cal's there and then going like, I don't know, or if you just have Voss send him someplace else. Or something to that effect. I mean, obviously you're going to have to hit him a little bit more trained, but isn't that the end game? Like when he gets trained, isn't that like game over?
Yeah, well, that's what I think. I don't think he's going to get trained. I think he's going to stick with Mando. Mando probably won't make it. And I'm just, obviously I have no idea where we're going to go. I'm just throwing it out there. What would make no sense is Mando probably doesn't make it, and little Grogu ends up back on that little water planet with the walker that they had. He goes, hangs out, and just grows up there, lets the Force die. Because one, they're not going to want to kill a little baby that everybody's going to attach to. So they're not going to want to off him on screen. But two, we don't see him going forward either. So they kind of have to ride him off into the sunset in some way. So then the only way you do that is no more Din Djarin. It's the way it's going to end up eventually.
Okay, wait, hold on. Here you go. So this actually is an old friend. But this has to do with Jen's theory. Can you see the comments, Jen?
Yeah.
This is something she's been saying the whole time. Because what is it? The guy shoots. What? I can't remember.
The actor who does the likeness and the voice is an actual actor in real life. He was on that Shameless is how I know him. And I think that he's aging like perfectly into it. It's kind of like we're gonna have another Bo-Katan type thing where it fits so perfectly. It's like a win.
Yeah. He was the Joker on Gotham as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, real quickly though, just mystery character that has 2% chance of showing back up, Plo Koon, because technically his starfighter blew up. We didn't see him, and he is Dave's favorite character.
Wasn't he the one that found Ahsoka? Plo Koon is the one that found Ahsoka.
He's found Ahsoka. They showed like. He showed fire. You didn't actually show him die. I know it's in the chat right now. Everybody's talking about like, don't bring back dead people. Like, yeah, I'm not. You know my opinion on cloning and death clones and bringing back people. I'm not a huge fan of that.
You love cloning dead people and bringing them back. You just make mountains of clones, and you just pop one out every time you need them. You're just like, hey, we got one. Need another one?
We did that before. They did that before. Yeah, they did that before in Heir of the Empire, Dark Empire. Like, it didn't work well. It didn't work well. It didn't work well. Speaking of that, though, Pete, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the Thrawn character, because there's a character that when they start mentioning Thrawn, for all you comic book fans, when you start mentioning Thrawn, there is a character that's very important, and Pete is actually going to, we've mentioned this book in halls. We've mentioned it's Thrawn number 6. It has got our friend Arala. Yep, you try to criticize me on how you say her name. That's her first appearance. It's a solid book. that if they're bringing back Thrawn, for all those that don't know, we're going to do a Thrawn thing so we can explain her importance. I know a lot of people think Pry is important, and that's great. But like, if you read the Thrawn stuff, this character here is in every Thrawn novel. She is super important to the route that Thrawn is going. As you know, you just saw this book. This book just went for $250, and if you read the description on what that guy said about that book, he said pretty much like, if you want a gradable copy, this ain't it. Go someplace else.
And it's still sold $250.
It's still sold like fast. Like that guy said, like, it is what it is. Get off my lawn if you don't like it. Like, slam the door in people's face. Probably one of the greatest pitches to sell books I've ever seen before, and it still went for $250.
Yeah. He might as well said, I pre-screen. It didn't pass muster. So
yeah, that's pretty much what he said. He goes, I put it through pre-screen 9.4, didn't pass, bro. Take the book, leave it. I don't care.
Reject for $250.
Somebody took it for $250. So, with that being said, this isn't as great of a book as that, but that line right there, those 6 books, was it the Ross on the 6? The 125 is really hard to get across. Yeah.
Wait, Pete, you're gonna give it away?
So he's not giving away the 125. He's giving away a regular cover.
Yeah, the regular. I got a whole bunch. Not a whole bunch.
It's like around $20.
Okay, well, $20 we're giving away. $20. We're giving away $20 today, and now I just screw that up because this is all that's being left there. How we're going to do it, Pete? It's your game.
I told you I had one. I found a couple, so it's if you guys don't know what I write about dollar bin digging. So I found a few for $1. So it's worth $20. I found it for $1. I have no problem giving you guys $1 for hanging out and watching us.
Oh! Hey, is Darth Lopez here? Because we have a unboxing too. Okay, so Pete, you think about how you're gonna give that away. I have 2 things to share. I'm gonna share one first, and hopefully Darth is in the thing. First off,
there was a cool.
We've been talking about this for months now, and Kev we talked to him about before too. He's one of the guys when we were talking about this, we brought it up, and I think we've done a disservice because we were talking about it.
Me over here with his Plo Koon must have had some serious airbags installed on that fighter to survive.
I could have.
Yeah, he could have ejected. You don't know.
He didn't run out with Porkins. He could have blasted out.
Well, hey, Leia got sucked into space, and she used the force herself. I mean, it's totally plausible. I like
that. Train, not like Leia with it. Well, my brother showed me a few things.
So I got this box. This is before I'm going to do the Darth thing, because we've talked about this, and I'll even show you the company I bought it from, so that you can know that this is where this came from. This is where this came from, okay? Real quickly. And now I'm going to go full screen to show you what's in the box, because we've been trying to tell people and warn people about this book. It's a cool book. I collect the actual library stamped ones, and I think we might have misled some people to think that this is actually rare, and it 100% is not. It's print on demand. I just ordered these 3 days ago, and they came in. These are mint. They came in brand new and mint. Okay, look, mint. This is not, I know some people got confused and maybe took what we said the wrong way. Kev, we put it in the comment section. He gave us one link. There's another link for it. I just want everybody to know, this is not a rare book. If you want one, let me know. I can tell you where to get it from. They are not rare. These haven't even been opened. As you can see, I can flap it. If you want to trade, by the way, if you want to trade the ones that have the library stamps in it, let me know. I'm more than happy to trade them with you. Those are the ones I like a little bit better because I think some of them have corny names. Kev, by the way, big shout out to him. Big shout out to him. Yeah, the second print hardcover. Yeah, Clone Wars 1. Yeah, big shout out to him. He's really tried to help out with this. I think, unfortunately, it's been disconnected. I don't think it's nefarious characters in this situation. I think it's just, it's hard sometimes. There's so much Star Wars. Yeah. So I just wanted to get that out to you guys. Like I said, if you have these and you want a mint copy, and by the way, Shannon, tell her, you guys, I know this is going to pass too. When you guys come out here, I'll keep one of these for you for our 7-year-old friend. You guys stop by on your way out. But yeah, if you guys want to switch them out, please do with me. That's something. Get a hold of us. We have our email on the bottom. I'm looking for the ones that have been loved a little bit, the ones that actually have it in there. I have a couple of copies of this. If you want a mint copy instead, let me know. You can have it. We'll just do a quick swap. Okay. Now let's get to, Oh, that ain't a knife. This is a knife. Let's get to the opening of the unboxing. We gotta thank Darth Lopez. Great friend of ours in the chat. I have some great conversations with him. Let me throw these near mint books on the ground. That they're not near mint anymore. There's bubble wrapping in there. Relax. He sent us a great package. Sent me a great package. I appreciate it. It's in the diamond box. We're gonna see what we got here. Open it up for everybody.
Yeah, I love Darth Lopez. Follow him on IG.
Darth Lopez is awesome. Yeah, follow Darth Lopez on RG. It is Darth. Oh, I might have cut through this with the knife. That's not good. Yeah, well.
That's why you don't use a knife.
You always use a knife.
I think Kev Collectibles has the best
Lightsaber. What did he say? What did he say? Who?
Oh no, from earlier. He said when Thrawn's name dropped, I nearly chizzed my pants. Get it? Because he's a chiz.
That was super cool.
That was good.
That was super cool. Oh.
I did think when he dropped that name, this last episode, again, they opened it up for the amount of speculation of who can come into the next shows is off the table now. There's absolutely no way that you can possibly be right or wrong. You've got 1 in a million shot at how many people they could really bring in and what they can do in future shows. I was, after sitting down and thinking about it after watching it the second time, I was like mind blown. I was like, man, just expanded in one episode more than they have in 2 seasons.
Yeah, between Thrawn and that planet, Thion, right? How you say it? Tython. That, like, you're right. Everything that they kind of dropped was like, there's so many different directions, and they're bringing stuff in, and like, oh man,
super cool. All right, so this is what he gave me. Super cool. Pete.
Oh wow, nice.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
Look at that.
All right, thank you so much, Darth Lopez. I know. Hey, look, this isn't a Christmas trooper there, Pete, but
Why you gotta rag on my Christmas trooper?
I appreciate that. I appreciate it so much. Put it up on the rack.
Why you gotta rag on my Christmas guys?
Put it up on the rack. It's going up. There
Nothing
it is.
wrong with these two. It's the holiday season.
Thank you, Darth Lopez. I really appreciate it. He also sent me some cards, which is kind of cool. Oh, Warlock. I love Warlock too. Awesome. All right. The Gambler, man. That's nice. That's nice.
Kenny Rogers?
Yeah, Kenny Rogers. Yeah. You didn't know Kenny Rogers came out here. He was really good out here too, man. Okay. So, one more point now also, since we're addressing books. This book right here, also, I think it's a little bit misleading. So I just want to clarify this book right here. Mm-hmm. That character that showed up last week is not this character. This is just a cover. I know there was a little bit of misconfusion with it too. That character last week won't be that, and I'll put $100 on it. So, Pete, how are we doing?
Pure, the word you hate. That was just pure speculation on a friend of mine. Phil, he just guessed.
I know too. He's a good guy.
It was a guess. I'm like, I don't believe it, but
he's a good guy. I have met Phil before. I think we actually have had drinks before, probably in Baltimore. He is a good guy. Once again, not malice. He was just saying like, "Oh, cool." This is a guess. He came out with something. I like Phil. I'm just saying that's just not. It's not it. So I just wanted to hit that back up. Christmas Trooper. Oh yeah. Now I'm gonna have to get him a Christmas Trooper too. So he's got the best. So like my kids and Shannon's kids, and actually, well, Shannon, do you mind if I say this? So we know each other very well. I've known his wife we grew up together. We're huge Star Wars people. They're huge Star Wars and Harry Potter people. I forgive the Harry Potter version of it, but he definitely does raise his kids right. Like his daughter is Rey. I'm just joking. I'm joking. It's not Star Trek. So I really appreciate them showing up down there. But yeah, man, he's all in on it too. So it's really good to see those yins out there. I use yins. It's a term because they're in Pittsburgh. They say soda a lot, stuff like that. But I really do appreciate them showing up. They're great friends of mine, so that's really cool to have them. Rolling your eyes, Wookie. All right, let's go. Let's get the.
No, I'm watching the chat roll by. I'm waiting for him to either cuss you out or be like, "Hey, thanks."
He is not. He is not a fishing buddy. He is not. Kev knows I love fishing. That's why I own a house on the lake, because I like to fish. But no, he does actually. So like, I don't want to get into it because it'll give away where we are. They go to some place that when my dad was still around, he used to take us to one side of the state. We used to fish a lot out there and fish salmon, stuff like that. And they are out there. That's where he got married. So yeah, it is Pop. So that's yeah. I know you're right. I don't have any friends. You're right.
It's a Lord of the Rings reference right there.
Jeez. All right. So Pete, who are we giving that away to? Who's getting? Oh,
I have no idea. I told you to come up with an idea.
That's not how it works. All right. Should we do the run thing and you tell me when to stop? Close your eyes. Tell me when to stop and then tell me when to stop again, I guess. How do we do this? All right.
Or you know what we can do? We can do something if you want to do it for Wednesday's show, like something, No,
we already said we're giving it away. We'll give something else away on Wednesday.
Fine. All right. All right. Then I'll close my eyes and you.
Okay. Tell me when to stop.
Wait, I haven't made enough comments in the chat yet. Hold on.
They got 5 more seconds. 5.
I got one for you too, Wookie, if you want. Just, hit me up. I got it.
Oh, I want like 5 more. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. We've got, who is this? This is Rob or Bob. Oh, hey, cool. Bob, you got it. Do we have an email? Pete, do you want him to do directly to you, or do you just want to send them through the channel email?
You can do the channel email as long as I can get it from Nico. I'll send it off.
Well, it goes through ours, so I'll just send it over to you.
Yeah, shoot it over. I'll get it right out.
Underneath our description, there's an email. Bob.
Rasket?
Yeah, Bob. We know Bob. Bob, just send it to us. If we don't find Bob, we'll find him around someplace. Tell him we want something. There you go, Bob. We'll even pay the shipping. Congratulations, Bob. Yep, good stuff.
On the eye.
We'll probably give some more stuff away. I don't know. I mean, I've sent some packages out to some people, but I don't know. We'll figure out a wheel or something. We got to do something. All right. That is good. What are we going on now? These are supposed to be hour-long shows. We're hour 41 minutes, guys. So
I told you 3:42.
We got this week. If you guys aren't watching Pete's toy show, watch it. Watch it on the channel. It's
I
good.
still got to do this week's. I got it. Shogun Warriors, just as a little.
Oh yeah. He always does good stuff. He does great stuff. I like all his things. I'm trying to get him to do a muscle show.
I'll do muscle. I was trying to keep it current for the first couple, and then I figured I don't want to go vintage too early, but I don't know. Shogun Warriors is kind of hit me.
We could do Christmas blacks, or we could do a peg hanger black series like Christmas ones at Target, like that. Just kidding. I did see that comment the other day about that, so I'm giving you a hard time. Check that out. Check out 3 Colored Bonnie. It's really good. Check those shows out. Those are on the channel. Jen, of course, on Tuesday. We just give you all the back-to-back love. There's going to be a lot of Jen this week. We're going to have her Tuesday. She's going to do her regular show. Jen, what are you doing? Please tell me. I shouldn't ask what I want, because it's now turning into like Star Wars, where I just want so much stuff. But please tell me you're going to go back and do the throwback cartoons.
No, we're doing something else that is the perfect time for the holidays.
Perfect time for the holidays.
Surprise. All right, surprise. Check out Comic Book Women. That is 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It is a live show on Tuesdays on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Solo Wookie, I think we're coming back. We might be doing a special show on. We have our show. We have Tales from the Dark Side. Will be on Wednesday, the tape version. We will be covering Yeddle If She Lives. I think it's called Yeddle Lives. Thank you, Kyle, for that.
Just remind me, with Star Wars, that's who we got this week for Monty. We got the guy who wrote Knights of the Old Republic.
Nice.
John Jackson Miller. We got coming up.
I don't know how to get rid of Bob's comment, so I'm going to flick some. There we go. Way to go, Bob. What else do we have? So Wednesday we have that. We might do a little 15-minute if I can squeeze in the time to do it. Solo and me might actually be doing a show that you've seen us do before with Kyle and friends. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do it. Solo Wookie and Kyle and them probably going to do Modern on Saturday if they can. I think they're going to do that, so we'll be good on that. Man, we got a lot of people across this channel, don't we?
There's a lot of people working on this channel.
And then we'll do
content. Vintage Voyage. Hit Vintage Voyage later tonight, guys. Don't miss it. That's
don't forget Vintage Voyage. Vintage Voyage. They're doing it's Batman. It's Silver Batman, which is great. So that's good. I mean, make sure you do that. They've really streamlined. I really like what they've been doing with that show lately, man. It's so good lately. I mean, it's just good. I like that they did the hour thing. They streamlined it. It's brilliant.
Make sure you guys watch them flip covers all night long. It's amazing. I just love it.
Yeah, they got better once they got rid of me because I don't know anything about vintage books. I was just sitting there showing pretty pictures.
Hey, if you want to go back, look under us in the channel. We actually did a watch through of this Christmas special with Paul W. It's pretty funny. Mm-hmm. That's it. We'll see you live next Sunday around the same time again. Everybody's in for next Sunday, right? Yeah. Absolutely. We've only got 3 more of these guys. So thank you, everybody, for watching. We really do appreciate it. Wookie, tell them what the deal is. Talk about our usual people and take us out of here, all right?
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming and watching us and hanging out with us. We love to have the best group chat in the business. This is awesome, and you guys are great. Please visit our friends at Birds Comics.
There you
go. Code DarkSide, DarkShde, and use that code to get your 15% off, and give them a big thumbs up and tell them how happy you are to see all of the incredible stuff and exclusives that they have. Go buy them today. They are super, super cool. Please visit For Color Creations. Some of the greatest stuff you will find on the interwebs. They have great covers. That guy is amazing. Look at that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, love his work. His stuff is amazing. Please stop and check out your comic book barricade. Stop the deadly spine tick on your books. These things are book savers. We need all of us need them. Then go over, force push that like and subscribe. Saber smash that bell so you can be alarmed when the greatest voices and faces this side of the galaxy come to drop some more knowledge and talk with you live on the internet for Mando and for all of our other interesting galactic stories.
Nice.
And as always, may the force be with you.
Always. All right, guys. That's it. I'm going to try to lead us out of here. You know I'm going to screw this up. But, oh, no. I actually think I have it this time. So, here is our... No, I screwed it up already. Here's our exit. Pet Club.
Pet Club.
Oh, man.